come into one. We are in a really difficult time. I mean, it was worse back then during the slavery episodes against African Americans and people that were mixed, or that more darker complexion that wasn't really a fair complexion. And then now we have that, but racism is quiet, and we all always see racism everywhere we go. And then on the other side, there are people that don't look at the outside, the flesh, the skin complexion, your appearance, because at the end of the day, it don't matter about what's on the outside. It's more important about what's on the inside. So the curse is the fact that, as we can see, we still see people acting on flesh instead of looking internal. And then we have to be the bigger person and just be like, oh, well, they're unbelievers. They don't believe in what's on the inside because they are more focused on the outside, and that's when they develop judgments. And that is the worst thing to have in a trait in a person, because a person should always look at the dynamics of a person. As far as in a relationship, it still doesn't matter about the looks. Or as far as, just anything. So that's just a classification, is the skin color. And then we have also things as far as income and how rich you are. That is going on in the world now. So that means that everybody is looking at your income and judging you as well. Plus, they also are looking at your skin color. And that is still burdening people from getting new positions and jobs, or any type of thing that can expand your career, likewise. And then, when you think about your career, likewise, you see people get incarcerated because their skin color. And that's also is a burden to them as far as career-wise, because they have a record. Oh, okay. Oh, I still didn't know I was recording. My bad. Anyway, hold on. So, then we also have financial burdens, inflation, the World Wide Web, religions, beliefs. It's just like we are really in. It's just a more heightening part of what it was than it was before. And then everybody's all like, it's the end of days and it's the end of days. Yeah, I really feel like that because of like the weather that's going on, and how the world is shifting. And then there's still mysterious things that's going on. Like whether space is actually real, and if there's really aliens. But they try to lie and sit there and say it's not. So we are also in a battle of conspiracies too. So I did write a reading about programming your chakras and stuff like that. Because when I first woke up, you know, I literally, like, before it actually happened, I was seeing how the doors was opening for me. And it really definitely made me see more and want to be more skeptical about everything that happened in my life and what I am actually supposed to be. And when you get to that place, when you first awake, I always tell people that it's like nirvana. You know what I mean? Like Buddha, space, God, ancestors, you see. But the funny part about it is that God wanted to tell me, even though I knew, but I didn't really understand, was that we were all brothers and sisters. And Jesus is our brother. And Jesus is also God's son. But everyone thinks that they aren't in the place of what Jesus is now, when we are. And then we read the biblical text and we're just like, wow, we can relate to that. So this stuff has been ongoing for so long, but it's more heightened. You know what I mean? Like, we had all the developed technology before. But then after God flooded the earth and stuff and destruction happened, that's when everything got lost. So that's why you see like new technology coming out, water powered cars. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm pretty sure they have cars that can glide. But the thing about it is, it's still not out there for people to see or to even think that that's something that can be possible. But when you look at the infinity symbol, you can see that shows that that's still a circle. Because when you untwist it, it's a circle, 360. So what goes around comes around. Everyone is going to go through the same thing. But we still got to put our imprint. Not copying off of other people's imprint. But we got to put our own imprint and our own uniqueness into what we love. Because when it's not authentic, that's when you can tell. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, as a person that I am, I'm very authentic. I mean, I grew up around music and stuff like that. And I used to always sing songs like Britney Spears and Beyonce and Christina Aguilera, Michael Jackson, gospel songs, you know. I used to always love that. Like, and then I used to always dance. You know, I was on the dance team. I was a cheerleader and stuff like that. So that was already in my core because when I was very young, that's what I was doing. And it's still going to heighten as I get older. So that's why you got to understand cleansing yourself of open wounds is the most important part about balancing your chakras. Because if you don't sit there and make sure that you're cleansed of all toxicity, you're never ever going to get to the next step. Everyone always has to realize that every day you have to come to self. You have to come to an understanding of self, of that day, of what you went through before you go to sleep. Now, that's the only way that I can go to sleep. If I namaste, just namaste. Look in the mirror, namaste. Because I have to see the beauty in the day, and I have to see the beauty in my life, and I gotta see the manifestation that I see my spirit goes through. Because that was something that it was written already. That was my destiny. When we all go through our battles and stuff and our unbeliefs, we program ourselves to either take it either a negative way or a positive way. And it could be that maybe you do take it a negative way. But then as time passed, you say, oh, well, this was the bad and the good, because you thought that you couldn't go through those obstacles, but you can see, God forbid, that it actually, that was your challenge and you had to go through it so you can have a lesson learned. And I just really believe deep down that you do have to come peace with yourself. And then, so the article that I wrote about ascending and programming chakras, like, say taking on a routine to actually detox yourself from negativity will in fact help your environment that is external and internal. Like, when I meant to say that, that is what it was meant for as far as external, because you got to also look externally, because you have to be the person looking outside in at the situation. Because when you're in it, like when you're inside, that's when all your feelings come in, everything, memory, all of that. If you're just a person looking on the outside, that's a person that's giving you advice about something. Like, and if you are the type of person that don't have many friends, sometimes you do gotta do that and look like as that, instead of looking at yourself in your body. And it's very important. Like, it's not me saying that you should go out your body and stuff like that, because sometimes it happen to me. Like, I'll just be working in the zone. Now I be in the zone, and then like I don't hear anybody because I'm more focused on something else and not my ears. You know what I mean? So you realize sometimes that you will be out of your body. You know what I mean? Or like, if you just have to deal with shit, you just gotta be like, fuck it. I'm not gonna worry about this right now. I'm not gonna put my feelings in it. Because when you put your feelings in it, it is coming from the inside. Okay, so then I also said, where are we at? Alright, when you ascend, you will carry on things that make you great. This one of those experiences only in this life, we're trying to find clues to the gnosis. So when I talk about the gnosis, I'm talking about already knowing. Like, oh, well, so if I put it in the steps of what I experienced before, I know that I heard something. Like, I heard in a very quiet room, I heard a voice. So if I hear a voice again, I'm automatically going to understand that that's just my ancestors that's trying to tell me something. Or the fact that, I already was built in character to understand this math problem. So I'm already going to ace it off the bat because I already knew that. It's not about just automatically just understanding something. It's not like that. It's all about experience, learning, and putting things together, putting a puzzle together to understand something. And that's why I said trying to find clues to gnosis. Alright, so anyway, so I said this is one of those experiences only in life we're trying to find the clues to gnosis. They were lost and banished from the human eye because of the word of mouth, or what's in. The expedition of this life is to find the self, find the serenity in the madness, by being out of the body sometimes, as it evil never was existed. At the same time, basing the polarity off of a bad single creature and not blaming yourself seems parable sequency. We actually should be. If you think you have all the knowledge of being noble, not only after you are awake, you won't go through another awakeness, but there are steps to nirvana. Learn to control emotions as well. Impulsive behaviors. See, the mind is all about flesh, and the heart is all about forgiving and being compassionate. But it can be misinterpreted from your sacral chakra. So I'm not going to go into the chakras, but that was what I was just talking about as far as being in and out of body. Because if you see some racist shit going on, I mean, you can say, oh, you're wrong for that, because you're standing up for not only you, but for black people, Latino people, Indian people, Chinese people. Come on, let's be real. Like, you're gonna feel hurt about that. But it's not like it, like, sometimes you gotta be out of flesh, because they might be rude and say, why the fuck I can't say nigga or something like that, or why can't I say that? And then they want to fucking accuse you and stuff, talking about being in your feelings. But if you ready to start swinging or fighting something, you know definitely that shit is wrong, and they're out of pocket. And I'm not trying to enforce fighting, but I'm just saying sometimes you do gotta be out of your body, because you know, you might be ultra sensitive to something like that, because maybe in your childhood, maybe you did get bullied by white people. You know what I mean? They thought you were crazy, you know. But that's something that you got to understand, because when you remember your upbringing, that's when the gnosis comes in, because you're like, all right, I'm not going to let them do that to me. Even though it really hurt me in the past, I'm not going to put that out there. But in fact, you know, it's so many scenarios that I can go through. It's no even point. But you get my point. But I want everybody to have a beautiful rest of your weekend. I'm going to enjoy my weekend off, and I hope that everybody had that message dissect and they are ready to go in their way. Peace. Oh.